Hello my friends, I would like to thank you for subscribing, and if you have any themes in mind about Africa and stories, you can mention them in the comments and we will make them. Let's go for another story. Have you ever wondered what secrets ancient Africa holds? Secrets that official history has forgotten to tell us? Between black gods, forgotten miracles, and civilizations that mastered the art of healing and magic, there are stories capable of challenging everything we believe to be possible. On this journey, we will delve into sacred temples, ancestral rituals, and hidden symbols, revealing how these cultures influenced religions, science, and philosophy around the world. Could the miracles of the black gods still live among us, waiting to be rediscovered? Before we continue, have you subscribed to the channel yet? Leave a like and tell us in the comments where in the world you're listening to this ancient story from. Every detail we explore is a clue to knowledge that has crossed centuries and borders, a call to understand the sacred that shaped humanity. Prepare to discover how ancient African wisdom continues to resonate today. Throughout this video, each myth, each ritual, and each miracle will be revealed as if we were walking side by side with the ancient priests, healers, and gods. You will feel the energy vibrating in the symbols, ruins, and chants, and you will realize that ancient Africa has never ceased to influence the world. Are you ready to open your eyes and heart to forgotten miracles? This is our journey through history, spirituality, and ancestral mystery. Prepare to uncover timeless secrets, explore hidden knowledge, and feel the power of the dark gods in each story. We will transcend the boundaries of the known, observe the invisible, and understand how rituals, healings, and symbols still shape our culture and consciousness. Each story is a fragment of a greater whole, a bridge between past and present. And so, we begin our journey through the sacred and the unknown. Enter the world of forgotten miracles, feel the ancestral presence, and discover the power of the dark gods. Each discovery will be an invitation to see history in a new light, to question what we have been told, and to realize that the invisible still influences our reality. The sky awakens in golden and orange hues, reflecting on the silent savannas that stretch as far as the eye can see. The wind carries ancient murmurs, as if each leaf and each grain of sand held sacred stories. Amidst the timid glow of the rising sun, silhouettes of trees and hills seem to guard secrets that only the most attentive can hear. A distant drum resonates, calling to those who seek to understand the forgotten past. It is at this moment that the ancestral journey begins, inviting the viewer to traverse the time and memory of ancient Africa. The morning breeze carries the scents of damp earth and medicinal herbs, awakening senses that have long lain dormant. Each shadow seems to dance with the light, revealing hidden paths that connect the physical world to the spiritual. Between shimmering rivers and endless plains, ancient spirits seem to watch, ready to guide the steps of those who dare to listen. The silence is profound, yet full of expectation, as if every detail held the promise of secret revelations. A silent invitation echoes, "Come discover what was lost and still survives in forgotten stories." On the horizon, small villages slowly awaken, their smoking chimneys telling stories of lives that revere invisible gods. Women and men prepare for the day, repeating ancestral gestures, rituals that keep alive the connection with the sacred. Each gesture is laden with meaning, each sound a reminder that ancient wisdom never completely disappears. It is a world in balance, where the human and the divine coexist without clear separation. And in this balance, the mystery of forgotten miracles begins to emerge, timid but irresistible. The sun rises, and with it, the promise of light on secrets that have withstood the test of time. Rocks and trees seem to whisper the names of dark gods, ancient miracles, and deeds that defy comprehension. Every detail of the landscape carries hidden symbols, clues that only attentive eyes can perceive. The feeling that something extraordinary is about to be revealed grows with each step. It is at this moment that the viewer unconsciously feels the call to a journey of discovery that transcends centuries. And so, the stage is set. Ancient Africa awakens before our eyes, inviting the mind to journey through legends, gods, and miracles. The colors of dawn illuminate not only the land but also the ancestral memory that insists on speaking. Each element seems prepared to guide the observer along paths of mystery and spirituality. A distant echo of drums reminds us that the past still pulsates in every corner, waiting to be heard. And in this breath of living history, the first door to the unknown slowly opens, promising that even more secrets are yet to come. Amidst the awakening of the savannah, whispers travel on the wind, carrying stories of gods who walked among mortals. stories forgotten by time, miracles that defy reason, feats that made the impossible seem natural. Each tale is a bridge between the human and the divine world, revealing a universe where faith and power intertwine. It is in this sacred space that the wisdom of the dark gods awaits discovery. The viewer is invited to listen, not only with their ears, but with their soul. Some speak of cures that arose from simple whispered words or silent gestures. Others recall rivers changing course to protect communities, or trees that guarded the secret of eternal life. Each miracle carries a meaning, a hidden teaching about balance, respect, and connection with the cosmos. And as these stories unfold, the veil of forgetfulness begins to slowly dissipate. The promise is clear: all that seemed lost still pulsates in the veins of the African earth. Supernatural feats belong not only to the gods, but also to priests and spiritual leaders who learned to listen to the voice of the sacred. They were guides, healers, interpreters of symbols and signs that indicated paths for life and for the protection of the people. Each ritual, each spoken word had power and intention, capable of transforming realities and challenging limits. It is in this intertwining of the divine and the human that miracles take shape and meaning. And curiosity grows. What secrets still lie hidden beneath layers of time and forgetfulness? Between legends and ancient tales, vivid images emerge of nights illuminated by bonfires, where stories of healing and resurrection were told to the younger generations. The air seems to vibrate with the energy of these tales, and every detail is a clue to understanding ancestral power. An almost imperceptible whisper reminds us that wisdom has not been lost, only hidden, waiting for attentive ears. And so, the viewer becomes a traveler, ready to immerse themselves in a story where miracles and dark gods walk side by side. And as the horizon expands, new questions arise. How did these supernatural forces influence the daily lives of ancient African civilizations? Which of their teachings crossed borders, cultures, and time? Each answer seems to open a new door, a new mystery, a secret that insists on being discovered. The promise of revelation is irresistible, and the journey has only just begun. The ancient history of forgotten miracles awaits, ready to captivate those who dare to listen. On the banks of the Nile, the sun illuminates stone palaces that guard centuries of secrets, while priests watch the rivers flow with attention and reverence. Further south, in the lands of Nubia, hills and deserts conceal trading cities and temples dedicated to gods who healed and protected. In West Africa, Mali flourishes between rivers and plains, where spiritual leaders conduct rituals that connect the people to the divine. Benin erects palaces and fortresses, intertwining art, magic, and history in each bronze sculpture. Each civilization has its own language, beliefs, and power, but all share the same invisible thread of ancestral spirituality. Time seems to fold back on itself when one contemplates these ancient lands. Daily life blends with worship, and every human gesture is an echo of the sacred. In the forests and deserts, communities keep alive the connection with gods who not only govern, but heal, teach, and guide. Rivers, stones, and trees are silent witnesses to miracles that occurred under the watchful gaze of ancestors. It is a continent pulsating with spiritual energy, ready to reveal its mysteries to those who dare to observe. Cities are not merely centers of material power, but living temples of divine wisdom. Each market, square, and temple carries ancient symbols, reminding us that the gods walk among mortals. Egypt, Nubia, Mali, and Benin form a tapestry of knowledge that connects medicine, magic, and spirituality. Each region has its own rhythm, its own ancestral melody, but all follow the same cosmic dance. And in this choreography, the viewer realizes they are about to witness miracles that defy time. Between deserts and forests, stories of healing, protection, and revelations intertwine with the daily lives of the people. Priests observe stars and rivers, interpreting signs that can save lives or guide the destiny of kings and communities. Each civilization has its own way of understanding the world, but all recognize the presence of invisible forces. And it is in this recognition that the key to understanding the miracles that history has forgotten lies. Small details, which seem insignificant, hide doors to greater secrets. The wind carries memories of ancient times, leading the viewer to feel part of a sacred geography. Mountains, rivers, and plains become stages for teachings, rituals, and healings. Each place is unique, but all share the same spiritual essence, where gods and mortals coexist. Geographical history transforms into a living narrative, full of colors, sounds, and symbols that invite exploration. And so, an ancient map of power and mystery unfolds, leaving in the air the promise of even deeper secrets to be revealed. Over the centuries, ancient voices were silenced, buried under layers of dust, invasions, and narratives that sought to erase the memory of the dark gods. Books and stones held miracles that no one dared mention anymore, and temples slowly fell into oblivion. It's as if the earth itself tried to hide what was sacred, protecting the secrets from the curious and the inattentive. But still, fragments remained, echoing in rituals, legends, and symbols scattered across the continent. The viewer senses that something powerful survives, even when the world tries to ignore it. Some stories have endured through time, told by griots and guardians of oral tradition, resisting all attempts to erase history. In remote villages, words of healing, resurrection, and supernatural feats were still whispered, preserving the connection between the human and the divine. Each tale seemed to carry a warning. Only those who respected their ancestors would understand the mysteries. And so, the surviving memory began to become a tenuous thread between past and present. The power of certain gods, once recognized and celebrated, became an object of doubt and disbelief for those who only saw the world through modern eyes. Ancient texts were reinterpreted, sacred symbols misunderstood or disregarded. But even in the absence of official recognition, energy and miracles continued to pulsate in the most secret corners of Africa. It is in this contrast that the mystery of forgetting is revealed, something great, powerful, hidden in plain sight. While maps and textbooks silenced ancient deeds, stories of healing and divine manifestations persisted in nightly rituals and ancient chants. Priests and elders kept the flame of ancestry alive, transmitting teachings that transcended barriers of time and oppression. Each word, each gesture, was a silent resistance, a reminder that the divine can never be imprisoned. And the viewer feels that, with each step, they are entering a labyrinth of secrets that modern history has chosen to hide. Even as modernity attempts to erase the past, subtle signs remain. Amulets, paintings, sculptures, and traditions that whisper of the miracles of the dark gods. Each detail is a vestige of truth, a clue that defies oblivion. The viewer realizes that to understand these mysteries, more than study is needed. It requires listening, feeling, and seeing with the heart. And in this awakening, the next secret emerges, ready to reveal itself to those who dare to continue the journey. In ancient lands, even before kings and cities, entities arose that did not belong to the common world. Dark gods walked among humans, bringing healing, protection, and teachings that transcended everyday life. Their stories were told in whispers, engraved in stones and carvings, and each myth carried a sacred lesson. The viewer is invited to glimpse figures that blend power and compassion, beings that inspire fear and reverence at the same time. A veil of mystery envelopes their presence, leaving in the air the promise of miracles yet unknown. Some gods were guardians of health and well-being, known for curing illnesses that no one else dared touch. Others protected entire villages, their names echoing in songs and drums, as if the earth itself spoke in gratitude. Each god had their symbols, colors, and rituals, transmitting wisdom through simple gestures, but charged with spiritual power. Their powers were not just legends, they were reflections of the profound connection between the human and the divine. Among the legends, some speak of goddesses who awakened energies of nature to heal wounds and alleviate suffering. Their hands, invisible to ordinary eyes, touched bodies and hearts, and their voices mingled with the song of rivers and the wind. Priests and elders learned to channel these forces, mediating miracles that still defy explanation. Each narrative reinforces that the power of these gods was always intertwined with daily life. In temples and altars, offerings were left to invoke divine protection and knowledge. Each gesture held profound meaning, each object had a story, and each myth carried hidden messages for those who sought to learn. The memory of these gods remained alive, passed down from generation to generation, like a flame that never goes out. And, in the silence of the sanctuaries, clues emerge of extraordinary deeds that still await understanding. And so, the dark gods present themselves, not merely figures of worship, but guardians of ancient knowledge, miracles, and mysteries. Each story reveals layers of meaning, and each symbol hides paths for those who wish to see beyond the veil. The viewer feels the call to move forward, knowing that other secrets and miracles are about to emerge. It is only the beginning of a journey where myth, history, and spirituality intertwine. In villages hidden among rivers and forests, healers were seen as mediators between the visible and the invisible. Their hands touched sick bodies, while sacred words mingled with the song of the wind, bringing relief where conventional medicine failed. Rare plants, known only to those who listened to the voice of the earth, were combined with ancient prayers and rituals. Each gesture seemed simple, but carried a power that spanned centuries. The miracles that arose in these moments left entire communities in silent reverence, witnessing the sacred. Some accounts speak of healings that occurred on full moon nights, when the sky seemed to open to reveal the divine. Children who had never spoken before uttered words after a ritualistic touch. Wounds that resisted healing disappeared as if time were turning back. Each event was remembered in stories told around campfires, transmitting hope and wisdom from generation to generation. The viewer feels that, even without seeing, something profound is being revealed. The sacred plants were known to few and protected like treasures, each root, leaf, and flower possessing almost magical properties. Priests studied the behavior of herbs, combining practical and spiritual knowledge to produce healing effects. Ancient mysteries guided their hands, and each success reinforced the belief that humans could connect with invisible forces. Healing was not just about alleviating symptoms, but about restoring the balance between body, spirit, and nature. The rituals included dances, chants, and offerings that resonated through the air, creating an atmosphere of power and devotion. The entire community was involved, believing that the collective energy enhanced the strength of the gods. Each healing was, therefore, an act of union between the physical and spiritual worlds, and the accounts were passed down orally, accumulating into a living tradition. The observer senses that each gesture contains layers of knowledge and mystery that still await to be unveiled. And so, amidst plants, prayers, and rhythmic movements, miracles became part of everyday life. Each event was not merely an act of healing, but a reminder of the constant presence of the sacred. The viewer is led to imagine the invisible power that circulated in the air, preparing the ground for even greater revelations hidden in the history of the dark gods. The next secret promises to expand understanding of ancestral wisdom that transcends time. On silent nights, when the moon reflected its silvery light upon rivers and temples, tales emerged of lives returning from the brink of death. Priests and dark gods were summoned, their hands reaching over the bodies as ancient chants filled the air. Each spoken word seemed to touch something beyond the flesh, awakening unseen forces that guided the soul back. Communities watched in silence, marveling at a power they could not fully comprehend. The viewer senses the magnitude of a world where life and death coexist as sacred cycles. Some tales tell of warriors returning to life after intense rituals, carrying with them wisdom and signs from the gods. Children who had been struck by serious illnesses awoke with smiles, as if a greater force had decided to intervene. Each resurrection was not only physical but also spiritual, restoring balance and hope. Stories like these were passed down through songs and dances, perpetuating the mystery for future generations. And the feeling is that something greater than time governed these events. The symbolism of these miracles was profound. Rebirth meant understanding the fragility of life and the power of the divine. Each return from death reinforced the belief that the physical world was only one layer of reality, and that the gods held dominion over universal cycles. Priests taught that respecting these cycles was essential for the health, prosperity, and harmony of communities. And even those who only heard the accounts could feel the vibrant energy of renewed lives. The ceremonies for such miracles were impressive, filled with chants, dances, and sacred symbols. The union of the community, the priest, and the god created an atmosphere where the impossible seemed natural. Every gesture, every word, had intention and power, transforming the moment into something that transcended the ordinary. The spectator is transported to this setting, feeling the mystery and reverence that surrounded each act of resurrection. And so, the stories of life returning from the brink of death remain, echoing through time. They reveal that miracles were not merely extraordinary feats, but lessons about renewal, courage, and connection to the sacred. Each account prepares the spirit to discover even deeper secrets, linked to the ancestral wisdom that has shaped beliefs, healings, and rituals for centuries. The next mystery is about to be revealed, inviting exploration of new aspects of African ancestry. Among ancient stones and forgotten temples, symbols dance silently, carrying secrets that defy time. Detailed hieroglyphs are not just words, but maps to healing, protection, and spiritual knowledge. Each sculpture carved in wood or bronze reveals hidden mysteries about life, death, and the cycles of nature. The viewer senses that these signs were not made merely for ordinary eyes, but for those who know how to interpret the invisible. It is as if the art itself speaks, whispering forgotten stories of power and wisdom. Amulets found in homes and tombs held more than just protection. They were receptacles of divine energy. Some contained formulas for health, others for spiritual strength, passed down through generations of healers and priests. Each symbol, each design, had a clear intention, though it remained enigmatic to those unfamiliar with the rites. The colors, shapes, and patterns were carefully chosen to amplify their power. And the observer realizes that each hidden detail has a story ready to be revealed. Paintings on the walls of temples and caves depicted scenes of healing, rituals, and miracles, but also encoded messages that only initiates understood. Each figure carried a double interpretation, the visible and the spiritual, creating layers of hidden knowledge. Gods, humans, and nature intertwined in patterns that connected past, present, and future. Each stroke was a coded teaching, waiting for attentive eyes and curious minds to decipher it. The air seemed to vibrate with these silent messages, charged with ancestral power. Sculptures and carvings were living symbols, capable of transmitting strength, healing, and protection only to those who approached them with respect. A simple gesture before an image could invoke energies that transcended space and time. The viewer senses a hidden code in every curve and detail, as if the wisdom of the gods were literally sculpted into history. Each object carried secrets, small miracles encapsulated in physical form, waiting for those who dared to see. And so, hidden symbols and meanings continue to speak through the centuries, inviting the viewer to decipher messages that defy reason. Each amulet, painting, or hieroglyph is a key to greater secrets, to forgotten rituals, cures, and miracles. The feeling is that the next step in the journey will reveal even more, bringing to light knowledge that modern history has tried to hide. New mysteries await in the shadows of the past, ready to be unveiled. In the heart of the villages, as the sun set and night covered the land, sacred rituals began. Bonfires crackled, casting dancing shadows on attentive faces, while ancestral chants echoed among trees and hills. Each gesture, each uttered word, carried intention and power, connecting humans and gods. The observer felt the air vibrate with invisible energy, as if ancient spirits watched every movement. It was a moment when the ordinary became extraordinary, and miracles could happen. Priests and spiritual leaders guided the community, interpreting signs from heaven and earth. Their movements were precise, as if each step contained ancient formulas of healing and protection. People believed that, through these rituals, they could access knowledge that was beyond the reach of the physical world. Each ceremony was not just a tradition, but a living bridge to the divine. And the observer feels that every detail, from the chant to the gesture, was essential to activating this hidden power. Some rituals involved sacred plants and aromas that penetrated the mind and body, amplifying the connection with the gods. Circular dances, drums, and chants created a rhythm that united the entire community in a single energy. It was as if each movement awakened dormant forces, revealing unexpected visions and healings. The spectator feels the intensity and beauty of these moments, realizing that each ritual carried layers of profound meaning. The ceremonies also served to teach, passing on knowledge from generation to generation. Children and young people watched attentively, absorbing stories, symbols, and practices that preserved ancestral memory. Each ritual was, therefore, a living book, full of teachings encoded in dance, music, and sacred words. And as the secrets were revealed, the spectator sensed that there was much more to discover about these hidden worlds. And so, amidst songs, dances, and offerings, the rituals connected daily life to profound spirituality. Each ceremony was a window to forgotten miracles, a space where the impossible could happen. The viewer realizes that the dark gods were not merely figures of worship, but active presences in people's lives. And in the silence that followed each ritual, a new clue lay hidden, promising to reveal even more impressive secrets in the next story. Around shimmering bonfires, griots and shamans began to narrate stories that spanned generations. Each word was carefully chosen, each gesture reinforced lessons about healing, courage, and connection with the divine. The listener feels they are hearing something ancient, so alive it seems to pulsate in the air along with the drums of the night. Oral tradition was not merely communication, It was magic, capable of keeping the past present and vibrant. Each tale carried coded teachings, waiting for attentive ears and receptive hearts. Priests and elders taught that listening was as important as speaking, for the secrets of the spiritual world demanded profound attention. Words were doors, each story a key to understanding life, death, and the cycles of the universe. Rituals, chants, and tales were interwoven, reinforcing lessons that writing could never fully capture. The viewer perceives that these traditions kept alive the memory of miracles and knowledge that defies time. Each narrative became an invisible thread linking the past to the present. The stories spoke of cures, gods, and supernatural events, but they also taught ethics, courage, and harmony with nature. Griots traveled from village to village, spreading these teachings and connecting distant communities through an invisible network of wisdom. The viewer feels the energy of this oral transmission, as if each word carried the breath of ancestors who still watch. The living memory of ancestry was carefully preserved, resisting invasions and forgetfulness. Children learned by listening and imitating, absorbing knowledge without realizing it, as if each gesture were a silent ritual of learning. Young people grew up knowing not only stories, but also codes of healing, protection, and spiritual understanding. The viewer perceives that orality was a bridge between worlds, teaching that knowing how to listen is the first step to understanding the sacred. Each account left an invisible mark, preparing those who were ready to perceive the hidden miracles. And so, ancestral wisdom was perpetuated, invisible to the eyes of those who did not seek it, but powerful for those who allowed themselves to listen. Each tale passed down orally carried secrets, clues, and teachings that written history could never record. The viewer senses that there is still much to be unveiled, that each story paves the way for even greater discoveries. A new mystery approaches, promising to take the journey even deeper into miracles and dark gods. Among golden sands and silent ruins, archaeologists and explorers find temples that seem to whisper forgotten stories. Carved columns and walls covered in symbols reveal the presence of dark gods who ruled both body and spirit. Each stone carries traces of rituals and miracles, testimonies of a wisdom that has withstood the test of time. The viewer feels the weight of the past, as if walking through the same corridors that the ancient priests trod. It is a journey to the sacred, where each discovery becomes a window to the unknown. Ancient papyri, preserved for millennia, hold healing formulas, prayers, and spiritual teachings that defy modern understanding. Coded words and intricate diagrams reveal that the ancients knew laws of nature and the body far beyond what was imagined. The viewer realizes that each fragment is a clue, a key that connects the physical world to the divine. Each discovery reinforces the idea that miracles and knowledge were not just myth, but a tangible reality. Bronze, gold, and wooden artifacts tell silent stories, depicting gods, rituals, and miracles in stunning detail. Each sculpture, each everyday object carries profound symbolism, showing that spirituality permeated all aspects of life. The viewer feels they are facing a secret language, an ancestral code that needs to be interpreted with attention and respect. It's as if each object is alive, transmitting energy and wisdom. Ruins of temples and sacred cities reveal structures aligned with stars and rivers, indicating an advanced knowledge of astronomy and geography. The planning of these places was not only functional, but also carried spiritual meaning and divine protection. The viewer realizes that ancient architecture is not just art, but science and magic intertwined. Each archaeological discovery reinforces the grandeur and complexity of ancient African spirituality. And so, amidst temples, papyri, and artifacts, the power and presence of the dark gods become tangible. Each ruin, each fragment, is a bridge between the past and the present, proof that miracles, healings, and spiritual wisdom did indeed exist. The viewer senses that there are still buried secrets, waiting for attentive eyes and receptive hearts. The next mystery promises to reveal even deeper connections between ancient cultures and civilizations. On the banks of the Nile and in the palaces of Mali, echoes of ancient wisdom crossed invisible borders, reaching distant cultures. Black gods and their stories traveled by caravans, rivers, and trade routes, leaving subtle signs in foreign lands. The viewer realizes that African knowledge did not remain isolated. It shaped philosophies, rituals, and beliefs in places as far apart as the Mediterranean and the East. Each influence is like a golden thread connecting the ancient continent to seemingly separate civilizations. The tapestry of history becomes more complex, and forgotten miracles reverberate beyond Africa. Some scholars find similarities between Egyptian hieroglyphs and symbols from Mediterranean temples, showing a transmission of ideas. Healing rituals, rites of passage, and spiritual meditation seem to echo African teachings in distant cultures. The viewer feels the strength of this connection. Ancient Africa was a beacon of knowledge, even when history tried to obscure it. Each clue suggests that miracles, science, and spirituality were part of the same invisible thread that united distant peoples. Beyond symbols and rituals, African philosophies influenced concepts of ethics, governance, and harmony with nature. Kings and priests transmitted ideas that would shape laws, spiritual practices, and traditions in foreign lands. The viewer senses that African ancestry not only inspired but also guided entire societies, leaving an invisible yet ever-present legacy. Each connection reveals that ancient knowledge was global, and that miracles and wisdom knew no borders. Caravans, navigators, and explorers carried seeds, sacred plants, and ritual objects, which aroused curiosity and admiration in other cultures. Each item transported carried with it stories of gods, healings, and miracles, like a coded message for future observers. The viewer perceives that these connections show an ancient Africa as a protagonist in the construction of world knowledge. It is a silent dance between continents, an exchange of power, faith, and wisdom that spans centuries. And so, the black gods and their forgotten miracles did not remain solely on the African continent. Their stories echoed, transforming cultures, religions, and practices in other corners of the world. Each clue to this influence prepares the viewer to discover new secrets, showing that ancient miracles still have much to teach. The next mystery is poised to reveal challenges and conflicts that tested the faith and power of these civilizations. Throughout the centuries, African civilizations faced invasions and domination that sought to erase their memory and power. Warriors and priests defended not only territories, but also the miracles, rituals, and sacred teachings they carried. Each battle was a fight for the preservation of ancestral wisdom, against forces that wanted to silence the black gods. The viewer feels the tension, as if they could hear the echo of war drums mixed with protective chants. Even amidst the chaos, ancestry resisted, vibrant and resilient. Entire communities reorganized to protect temples, libraries, and sacred sites. Oral histories became even more precious, transmitted with care and secrecy so that no one would forget the miracles and healings that shaped lives. The viewer perceives that each act of resistance was also an act of faith, where culture and spirituality intertwined like an invisible shield. Each gesture of protection carried the hope that the legacy would survive the storms of history. Even in the face of oppression, secret rituals continued to be performed by moonlight, in forests or caves. Priests and spiritual leaders kept the teachings alive, preserving the link with the gods and the miracles they provided. The viewer feels the weight of this silent resistance, as if the earth itself guarded the secrets, protecting them from oblivion. Each act of faith was a spark of light amidst the darkness of ignorance and repression. The invasions also brought new influences, but the essence of ancestral wisdom remained intact. Adapting, the peoples preserved rituals and symbols in new forms, ensuring that the power of the black gods continued to be transmitted. The viewer realizes that African history is not just about defeat, but about resilience, creativity, and cultural resistance. Each hidden secret revealed the strength of a people who never allowed themselves to be extinguished. And so, despite the conflicts, miracles and ancestral knowledge survived, hidden and protected, awaiting those who sought to understand them. The viewer feels that each challenge faced strengthened the bonds between humans and the divine, preparing the ground for even more impressive discoveries. New mysteries emerge in the narrative, ready to show how African wisdom overcame adversity and continues to inspire the world. In villages and temples, initiation was a gateway to the unknown, where young people learned to hear the voice of the gods. Each step, each teaching was conducted with care, transmitting wisdom about healing, protection, and spiritual balance. The observer senses that these rituals were more than traditions. They were profound journeys that transformed the body and soul. The young people became guardians of ancient secrets, connected to an invisible force that guided their lives. Each gesture was symbolic, a bridge between the human and the divine. During the initiation, chants, dances, and offerings created an atmosphere charged with energy. The initiates learned to interpret signs from nature, the sky, and the human body, understanding the miracles hidden in each phenomenon. The observer perceives that each ritual was a profound learning experience, teaching that knowledge and power go hand in hand with responsibility and respect. Each tradition strengthened the community and kept alive the memory of the black gods. Some ceremonies included tests of courage, meditation, and contact with sacred symbols, testing the ability to see beyond the visible. Young people were encouraged to trust their perceptions and the strength of their ancestors, learning that spirituality requires dedication and sensitivity. The viewer feels the tension and magic of these moments, as if each gesture were charged with invisible power. The spiritual transformation was not only personal but affected the entire community. The initiates also learned about medicinal plants, healing and protection rituals, and the art of communicating with divine forces. Each teaching was passed on with respect and silence, as if the knowledge had a life of its own. The observer senses that these practices preserved not only miracles, but an entire philosophy of life and connection with the sacred. Each new lesson opened doors to understanding mysteries that modern history has tried to conceal. And so, through initiations, young people became guardians of ancestry, ready to perpetuate miracles, rituals, and wisdom. The viewer perceives that each transformation was a preparation for understanding the spiritual and physical world in an integrated way. And while the rituals continue to echo in the memory of time, new clues emerge, promising to reveal even more secrets about the black gods and their forgotten miracles. Among villages and temples, figures emerged who stood out as mediators between the human and the divine. Healers and spiritual masters were known for their ability to invoke invisible energies, bringing healing and guidance. The viewer senses that these figures possessed a special magnetism, as if they carried the very essence of the dark gods. Each gesture, word, and ritual transmitted ancestral knowledge, transforming lives and strengthening communities. They were beacons of wisdom in a world full of mysteries and challenges. Some of these masters became legendary, their stories spanning centuries as symbols of power and compassion. Tales of miraculous healings, resurrections, and spiritual revelations circulated in chants, poems, and songs. The viewer realizes that these figures were not merely practitioners of rituals, but guardians of secrets that connected the past and present. The wisdom of these masters included knowledge of sacred herbs, purification rituals, and the interpretation of divine signs. They taught that every human life was intertwined with the cosmos, and that true healing involved body, mind, and spirit. The viewer senses the reverence with which they were treated, as if their every action echoed into eternity. Each teaching was carefully transmitted so that the miracles and wisdom would not be lost to future generations. Some spiritual masters also acted as advisors to kings and leaders, guiding important decisions with intuition and vision. Their knowledge was both respected and feared, as it represented a direct connection to invisible forces that shaped reality. The viewer realizes that, through these figures, African ancestry continued to influence history, even when attempts were made to erase it. Each master's or healer's story reveals layers of power and mystery that are yet to be explored. And so, spiritual masters and healers remain as guardians of ancient secrets, living symbols of the connection between humans and dark gods. The viewer feels that, in every gesture, every word, and every ritual, there is still a flame connecting past and present. And as their stories echo through time, new discoveries about miracles, healing, and wisdom await to be revealed, leading the journey to even deeper mysteries. On the walls of temples and in ceremonial fabrics, hidden symbols revealed themselves to those who knew how to observe. Each line, each drawn curve was more than art. It was spiritual language, a form of dialogue between humans and gods. The observer senses that these signs were not made for all eyes, but for those prepared to understand their secrets. Many believed that the dark gods spoke through these marks, guiding initiates towards wisdom and healing. Each symbol was a spark of power, a fragment of greater knowledge. The priests and elders mastered these sacred languages, blending sounds, gestures, and drawings that conveyed invisible messages. They were codes of energy, used to invoke protection, balance, and miracles. The viewer perceives that these languages went beyond words, reaching dimensions where the spirit understood what the mind could not explain. Each ritual, each chant, was a phrase spoken in the language of the gods, vibrating between worlds. These symbols were also engraved on objects of power, staffs, masks, amulets, used in spiritual ceremonies. Each object held a story, and its use demanded respect and pure intention. The viewer senses that every detail, every form, carried centuries of condensed wisdom. The symbols were not merely ornaments, but tools for connection, keys to open portals of energy and consciousness. Over time, many of these languages were forgotten or reinterpreted, hidden beneath layers of myth and fear. Even so, their traces remain in rituals, dances, and songs that echo to this day. The viewer perceives that, even veiled, these codes remain alive, waiting for attentive eyes that know how to decipher what is hidden. Each remaining symbol is a silent reminder of African spiritual power. And so, sacred symbols and languages become bridges between the visible and the invisible, preserving divine knowledge through time. The viewer feels that understanding these signs is more than a study, it is an awakening. And by following the trail of these codes, they are led to new revelations about the dark gods and the mysteries that still await to be revealed. In ancient temples and villages, each ritual began with a silent dialogue with nature. Rivers, trees, and animals were considered extensions of the divine, and dark gods inhabited each element. The observer senses that miracles occurred when humans and nature were in perfect harmony, creating an energy capable of healing and protecting. Each gesture, each offering, was an acknowledgement that life did not exist in isolation, but connected to the cosmos. This connection transformed the ordinary into the extraordinary, revealing the magic of the natural world. The priests taught that the moon, sun, and stars influenced the cycles of healing and spirituality. Each celestial position indicated the right time for rituals and important decisions. The observer realizes that understanding nature was also science, knowledge, and intuition, uniting spirituality and observation of the cosmos. Each astral alignment was interpreted as a message from the gods, and each natural phenomenon carried signs for those who knew how to read them. Animals were considered messengers or manifestations of gods, and their presence in rituals had profound meaning. A bird crossing the sky or a lion roaring in the distance could be seen as a warning or a blessing. The observer senses that each element of nature was part of a great sacred system, in which humans, gods, and the environment intertwined. The balance between these elements was essential for miracles to occur, and any imbalance could bring challenges. Sacred plants and herbs were used with ancestral knowledge, respecting their growth cycles and healing properties. Each mixture prepared by the healers was the result of detailed observation and spiritual guidance. The observer perceives that nature was not merely a resource, but an active partner, and that the wisdom of the dark gods included listening to, feeling, and interpreting its signs. Thus, each ritual became a dance between humanity and the natural world. And so, the connection with the elements and nature formed the basis of miracles and rituals, showing that ancient African spirituality was integrative and conscious. The viewer feels that each tree, river, or star could reveal secrets if observed with attention and reverence. And as the journey continues, new mysteries await, revealing even more about how the black gods shaped the world and its miracles. In ancient ruins and forgotten temples, accounts of events defy all modern explanation are found. People healed instantly, bodies moved without human intervention, and visions of dark gods appeared in the eyes of initiates. The observer senses that these miracles are not just stories, but fragments of a reality that escapes reason. Each phenomenon seems suspended between the physical and spiritual worlds, revealing a dimension where the gods act directly. The mysteries remain silent, waiting to be understood. Some accounts describe levitating objects, healing waters, or plants appearing in unexpected places. Witnesses speak of signs that combined natural and supernatural elements, as if the earth itself were responding to the requests of the gods. The observer realizes that each phenomenon is an invitation to look beyond the obvious, challenging the certainties of the modern world. These events remind us that ancestral African wisdom knew forces that still intrigue humanity. Legends speak of prophetic dreams, collective visions, and moments of enlightenment that transformed entire villages. The touch of priests or the presence of a dark god was enough to provoke immediate changes in daily reality. The viewer feels the tension between the inexplicable and the sacred, as if each testimony were a window to an unknown universe. These events, even if not fully understood, strengthened faith and preserved miracles for future generations. Some phenomena defy even archaeology and modern science. Structures aligned with constellations, paintings that change with sunlight, and records of unusual healings remain enigmas. The viewer realizes that the dark gods possessed knowledge that transcended time and human logic. Each mystery is an open door to a deeper understanding of the relationship between humans, the divine, and nature. And so, the unexplained mysteries continue to echo through the centuries, reminding us that ancient Africa was the stage for miracles that defy rational explanation. The viewer senses that each enigma preserves a secret wisdom, ready to be unveiled by those who dare to seek it. And as the story unfolds, new secrets await, revealing even deeper layers of the power of the black gods. Even centuries later, the echoes of African miracles and rituals still reverberate in the culture and spirituality of many peoples. Symbols, stories, and practices that originated in ancient Africa influence religions, medicine, and philosophies across various continents. The viewer perceives that the legacy of the black gods has not been lost, but transformed, crossing borders and time. Each ancient teaching resurfaces in new contexts, like a spark of wisdom that illuminates the present. It is a reminder that African ancestry is alive and vibrant. Cultural heritage also appears in art, music, and language, revealing patterns rooted in ancient rituals and symbols. Modern festivals, dances, and songs hold echoes of ancestral ceremonies and miracles. The viewer feels that each artistic expression is a bridge between the past and the present, keeping alive the teachings of priests and healers. The African legacy has shaped how different societies understand healing, spirituality, and connection with the cosmos. Contemporary religions and philosophies bear traces of ancestral practices, showing that black gods influenced beliefs worldwide. Rituals of protection, meditation, and offerings have parallels that date back to centuries of African wisdom. The observer realizes that miracles and knowledge have not been lost over time. They have adapted and continue to impact lives. Each modern tradition may contain fragments of ancestral teachings, discreetly preserved. Science has also found echoes of this legacy, especially in traditional medicine, botany, and the observation of nature. African healers and elders developed healing methods and ecological knowledge that inspire practices to this day. The viewer senses that ancestral wisdom is an invisible treasure, passed down from generation to generation, surviving official history and the loss of records. It is a silent bridge between the past and the present, rich in lessons about life, healing, and harmony. And so, the African legacy remains an invisible force, shaping modern cultures, beliefs, and knowledge. The viewer realizes that the miracles, rituals, and ancestral wisdom are not only in the past, but continue to live on, awaiting those who wish to understand. As new stories and discoveries emerge, the secrets of the black gods promise to continue inspiring and revealing hidden mysteries to those who allow themselves to listen. At the end of the journey, the black gods emerge not only as mythical figures, but as living testimonies of ancestral wisdom. Each ritual, each symbol, and each miracle recounted reveals layers of knowledge that have withstood the test of time. The viewer feels that this heritage is an invitation to contemplation, to recognize the sacred in everyday life. Forgotten miracles become beacons, illuminating paths that often go unnoticed. And, in this reverent silence, a new perception begins to blossom. The final reflection does not seek definitive answers, but awakens the awareness that African history is rich, complex, and profound. The viewer realizes that the black gods influenced humanity in subtle ways, connecting science, spirituality, and culture. Each discovery is a reminder that the past still pulsates, teaching about courage, resilience, and harmony. African ancestry reveals itself as an inexhaustible source of inspiration and mystery. Looking at the symbols, the ruins, and the oral accounts, we realize that the legacy of the black gods goes far beyond what the eyes can see. Each gesture, each word, each preserved myth is a link that connects generations and dimensions. The viewer feels that the true magic lies in the continuous transmission of this knowledge, which never ceases to influence and transform. Each revealed secret awakens curiosity for new mysteries. And as we contemplate the preserved miracles and wisdom, we are reminded that the invisible still shapes the visible. The dark gods continue to live in stories, rituals, and symbols, and their influence transcends borders and time. The viewer realizes that the journey is continuous. Each discovery is a portal to another revelation, another hidden secret. The ancestral magic remains, silent, waiting to be perceived by those who seek to understand. And so, we conclude this chapter of the story, leaving our minds open and our hearts attentive to forgotten miracles. The viewer feels reverence and inspiration, realizing that the knowledge of the black gods is eternal, and that African ancestry still breathes in the modern world. New journeys and revelations await, inviting each one to continue exploring, questioning, and learning. It is the end of this story, but the beginning of a continuous awakening, a call to look beyond what has been recorded and listen to what still whispers. As our journey draws to a close, we realize that the dark gods and their forgotten miracles are not only in the pages of history, but still live on in the traditions, rituals, and symbols that have endured for centuries. Each myth, each healing, each ritual is a link between past and present, reminding us of the ancestral wisdom that continues to shape the world. The viewer feels reverence and inspiration, understanding that the invisible still guides and transforms us. The African legacy teaches us about courage, balance, and connection with nature and the cosmos. The history of ancient civilizations reveals that miracles and spiritual knowledge were deeply rooted in daily life. The viewer realizes that by studying and respecting this ancestry, we can rediscover universal truths that modernity has almost forgotten. Each teaching is an invitation to live with greater awareness and harmony. The secrets we uncover are merely fragments of an infinite treasure. Ancient Africa shows us that magic, healing, and spirituality are not distant concepts, but tangible realities that transcend time. The viewer feels that each story heard is a call to value and honor this sacred heritage. Forgotten miracles still await those with attentive eyes and receptive hearts. And so, we conclude this chapter, but the journey continues. Each myth, each ritual, and each symbol of the black gods remains alive, ready to inspire new discoveries, reflections, and learning. The viewer feels that the African past is not just a memory, but a guide, inviting us to explore, understand, and revere the sacred. If you enjoyed this journey through time and the sacred, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and continue following stories and revelations about the hidden wisdom of ancient African civilizations. Share this video, comment on where in the world you are watching from, and carry on the legacy of forgotten miracles.